mission yet, as we'll see in the next episode. He takes a nap on Millie, and leaves the next morning.
Hey, thanks a lot.
Damn, that thing's heavy.
That, my friend, is because it's so full of mercy.
We'll find out what Wolfwood's idea of mercy is in the next episode too, but real quickly, I should note how this chapter stacks up to the manga. In the manga, Wolfwood is around for less than a chapter. They are riding a bus, but not from the sand steamer, and not this early in the story. This is where it gets incredibly jumbly because Wolfwood's role is very different in the manga, and the amount of mystery surrounding him, as per the usual for the comics, is zilch. In the manga, they journey either on foot or by Thomas to the tiny village of Little Arcadia from the steamer, and the events of episode 14 occur there. After this, they take a Wolfwood-less bus to another city where Vash meets Legato, and the events of episode 12 take place. How does Legato find him? No idea. We just assume it's coincidence, whereas in the anime, Legato finds Vash because of Wolfwood. Back to the manga, Vash chases Legato to Genora Rock after defeating both Monev and E.G. Mine in the same city. And again, he takes a bus. This is where Wolfwood finally shows up, and he's not taking the bus to try and earn money for his orphanage, he's taking it to a business meeting with the Gung Ho Guns. In the manga, Chapel doesn't exist. Wolfwood is Chapel, and he's been in on Knives' plot the entire time. The meeting he's on his way to is the mass murder of the Roderick thieves at Genora Rock, and the brief chapter where he and Vash cross paths is simply ironic, because Vash has no idea Wolfwood is working for Legato and they become fast friends. Wolfwood in the manga version is not a helpless henchman, but a high-ranking rebel, and just sort of decides not to do anything about Vash because he kind of likes him, and that's Legato's detail anyway. So it's completely different. The robot subplot never occurs because it doesn't need to, and neither do the events of the next episode, although it's an important one for the anime. Vash's opening narration about how he likes to start his day,
I meditate diligently every morning. The subjects are life and love. I quit after 3 seconds.
was actually in the manga, but only in a bonus throwaway chapter with no distinctive plot. It was nice of them to squish it in for kicks and giggles anyway. He's in a hotel in May City for a much-needed vacation and spends his days playing around with a neighborhood kid.
Mr. Vash is being put in strangleholds by the children again. That's nice.
Well, most of them anyway. One loner, Neil, isn't interested in playing, so Vash goes to talk to him.
Hey, now don't be like that. Wait, does your family run a restaurant? I'm starved. Think you can get me something to eat?
You're not getting any handouts.
I know that.
And my mom's off limits.
I like that Neil has an actual little kid's voice, at least I'm pretty sure he does. Very Charlie Brownish. Despite Neil's warnings to Vash to keep his distance from the MILF, Vash can't help but bask in the presence of the pretty little...
Come on in!
Vash begrudgingly asks Wolfwood what he's doing kissing the cook, so to speak, and Wolfwood assures him his intentions are pure.
It's a long story, although it's kind of a short one. Anyway, this is how it happened.
Wolfwood tells him that loan sharks were harassing the woman when he came in for a bite to eat, because her husband had abandoned her without paying off the restaurant.
So after that, I decided to use a little of his gospel to talk them out of it.
Would that be the gospel full of mercy you brought up earlier, O soldier of love?
He lies!
Anyway, the big fibber tells Vash there's a quick draw tournament here in May, and if he wants to save this little broken family, he should enter it and win the prize money for them. It should be no problem for him, after all.
Or would you prefer if I turned you in and get the $60 billion double dollars instead?
That's not very funny, pal.
Just look at her. Isn't that a sad face?
Yeah.
Not to mention beautiful.
Yeah.
For love and for peace.
Vash agrees to Meryl's eternal torment as she realizes what revealing Vash's identity will mean for a gathering of bounty hunters from all across the world, and Wolfwood's motives are actually looking pretty low at this point, as it appears he's really taking advantage of Vash to get into Neil's mama's kitchen, if you know what I mean. The chairman for the contest, or maybe the mayor of the town, I'm not sure, it's never really explained, is quickly informed that Vash the Stampede has submitted an entry for the competition, and asks if it should be withdrawn. It's funny that Vash has listed his occupation as love hunter, and his height and weight measurements once again don't make sense. But on another note, the year is apparently 131, and he lists his birthday as being in 104, which would make him 26 years old. That's completely impossible, because then he'd be the same age as Elizabeth, and we know that isn't true. He probably changes his birth date every year to remain perpetually 26. So, how old is he? Well, you can actually figure it out at this point, even if it's your first time watching the show. I don't know that there was anybody astute enough to do it the first time around, but it is possible. We can assume the dating system started from the year humanity crashed on the planet, so that would be 131 years ago. We learned in episode 9 that Vash was alive when the ships crashed, so he's at least 131 years old. And we'll learn later he's probably about 133 to be exact. The honcho tells his lackey that Vash would never be stupid enough to enter such a simple gunplay contest, much less make it public.
He don't know me very well, do he?
It's probably some punk using the name for a laugh, and there's no reason to panic. After the lackey leaves, however, we see his true intentions.
So what do you think? Will this do?
So who's that? Most first-time viewers assume it's this guy, a combatant in the tournament who cheats in the duels by wearing a mask on the back of his head. But you'll notice he arrives on the bus into town the next morning, so it can't be him. And besides, he's not all that important. He's just the only gunman in the episode with any lines, so that's the assumption. Really, this figure would have to be someone who knows who Vash really is, seeing as he tells the mayor to play off his entry as a forgery, even though it isn't, and someone who wants to keep Vash's location hush-hush for a little while, too. The most obvious guess is Legato, but there's a problem with that. If it was Legato, I'm not sure he would have waited for 2 more episodes after Vash had been moving around a while to launch an attack. And even if he did, he wouldn't have acted like this was the first time he had seen Vash, because it was, and he did, in episode 12. It still could be Legato, but a hint later in this episode makes it 1,000 times more likely that it's somebody else. Meanwhile, Wolfwood comes by Vash's room for a drink or 200, and starts shooting the breeze about his church.
It's 300 aisles from the city of December. You bring orphans that far out into the boonies?
It's the only place I've got. Kids I've met on the way, with nowhere else to go, either their parents are dead or they abandoned them. But you know, there's kids like Neil. I really don't want to take him.
So now Wolfwood's real motivation has been made clear, and it's much more honorable. He doesn't like children to be separated from their parents if he can help it, and he's afraid Neil will lose his mom if the collectors harass them again. So they all have a grand old time partying, and oh no, Millie still can't hold her liquor!
Ah, I feel so hot. Wow, hey, don't do that here.
You
Millie,
go,
no.
big girl.
Get your clothes back on right now. Stop that.
Yes, in so many ways. I do find it interesting that in both versions, Wolfwood is whooping and hollering as Millie disrobes, and Vash isn't. Again, The next day, Vash is horribly hungover, and it's bad enough to hurt his aim, but not by making him miss.
Is that the man you spoke of? He's not bad.
Oops. Oh no, I hit them all.
The other combatants start to suspect that he is the real Vash, and it doesn't help that the outlaw decided to send in 2 entries rather than 1.
If the third-round contestant, Mr. Nicholas D. Wolfwood, is present and ready to compete, step forward now or be disqualified.
What the hell did you sign me up for?
Wolfwood continues to be an excellent shot, and Millie asks if maybe he was an ex-gunman or something.
Yeah, right, that's enough. What is it?
Nothing.
Vash clearly believes her, so at this point, both Vash and Wolfwood know more about one another than they would like, and they're wholly suspicious of each other. Dos Mustachios here tells the pair that the next rounds will be live one-on-one combat, and the pacifistic Vash panics.
Can I drop out now?
You dragged me into this with you, and now it's too damn late!
As the rounds wear on, the officials find it strange that there haven't been any fatalities this year, but Wolfwood has already figured out why.
You're very lucky, mister. It's only your shoulder.
Yep, as I half mentioned during episode 4, Vash has such sharp eyes that he can use rocks to knock bullets off course. If Wolfwood wasn't suspicious of him before, he really is now. The two of them make it to the final round, and Wolfwood goes up to the judges' table to withdraw, so Vash will win by default and collect on the reward for the family.
I can't do that.
What?
Look.
Huh? Well now, that's how it is.
Nicholas, you really are very good. Would you consider eliminating Vash the Stampede with your superb gunmanship? If you do as I ask, I will guarantee you the safety of that family. And I'd even be willing to raise the prize to $30 billion double dollars.
You mean 50-50?
I like a man with a head on his shoulders.
During the fight, the two blast away at each other with rounds and insults as all their pent-up aggression and suspicion spills out. Finally, they leap out and shoot each other dead. The end. Thanks for enjoying Inbetweens. I keyed. They were using ketchup to set up the final match, like Vash had been doing when he played with the kids at the top of the episode. At least they didn't get it up their noses. The mayor decides the reward is too good to pass up and sicks his own men on them. Wolfwood has had just about enough at this point and goes completely bat-crap crazy. You know, I'm surprised that few people seem to care that Wolfwood is freaking muscular. That cross weighs what? Well over 250 pounds, and he can lift it with one hand, no problem. The reason why will come up only in the manga, but it totally cannot be natural. He injures just about everyone within 50 yards, but he snarks to Vash that nobody's dead, so he should have no complaints.
Mister, may the Lord have mercy on your soul. Or do you intend to pay me the prize money after all?
All right then. I'll pay it. I'll pay it.
Much obliged.
Wolfwood gets drafted into babysitting detail while Vash puts the moves on Neil's mom before being crockpot blocked by the return of her husband.
Dear.
Guess my job is done.
Yep, sure looks like it. For love?
And peace. Huh?
Get off!
No, Captain! Anything but that!
No.
Kitty! By the love of God!
Oh wait, I missed something. Yeah, those feet. It goes by just like that, but that's our final hint as to the identity of the man talking to the mayor. Those aren't Legato's feet, unless he's changed wardrobe recently, and he never ever does. No, those black slacks look like they belong to Chapel the Evergreen, which would make a lot more sense. That means that Wolfwood was taking the bus to May City to check in with his mentor/sponsor Chapel, or else Chapel had been following him to check up on him. And because of this, he discovered the whereabouts of Vash the Stampede. He tells the mayor to keep it on the down low as best he can, and this too makes sense because I doubt the mayor would listen to Legato, or that Legato would even be that diplomatic. But a chaplain? Like Chapel? Of course, why not? After that, he leaves May City to inform Knives of where Vash is and where he's going, and given the events of the next episode, he probably has a chat with Wolfwood too. Knives sends Legato, and one episode later, that villain arrives to kick off the Mind Screw. That was the real purpose of this episode, as well as to help establish Wolfwood's character. And that will follow up into the next installment in Volume 3, right before all the sheep hit the fan.